So it's been a while since we've done one of these videos in the kitchen, but after my appearance on Potty Mouth Gardening Club the other night, there was rather a lot of interest in the rhubarb cordial that I'd made. So it's been a bit of a glut of rhubarb recently, and there's only so many rhubarb crumbles you can have. So I've kind of diversified into what I've been making with the rhubarb, and this is the first of them, and it is cordial or diluting juice, and it is absolutely delicious. I was really quite surprised when I made it, just how tasty it was, and full credit to the BBC Good Food website. That is where I originally got the recipe from this, although I have adapted it a little bit to make it a tiny little bit healthier and a little bit more to my taste, but we'll come to that in just a jiffy. So it only takes 5 ingredients. It really couldn't be any simpler. So in here, we've got around about 550 grams of rhubarb chopped up in about inch-long pieces. This rhubarb freshly picked from the garden only this morning, just out there, outside the kitchen. Rhubarb was picked, chopped up into these pieces here. Speaking of sugar, we're using this golden castor sugar, and I'm going to use 250 grams. Rather handily, these little bags of Billington's golden castor sugar that I picked up from Sainsbury's are exactly 250 grams. No need to measure it, weight, anything like that. Chuck it straight in the recipe. Other things we're going to do. We need orange and lemon, and I'm going to take, first of all, not with a knife, with this handy little micro grater. Honestly, these are brilliant. These are wonderful. I was a little bit skeptical. I used to see these on the sort of the TV chef programs and that all the time, and I used to think they're a bit of a gimmick. But once you get a micro grater, you will never go back. So we want the zest off the orange and the lemon, and it really is just as easy of going over the outside of the orange. I'll do the lemon separately off camera, but I'm going to do it in exactly the same sort of way. I just want the really orangey bit. I don't want the sort of, you see how we're getting down to the pith there underneath the outside layer. We don't want that pith, that sort of bit of a funny taste. We don't really want that in there. The other thing we do want though is the juice of the orange and the lemon. And again, because of the way we're going to cook this, if the pips, if the seeds come out, it doesn't matter because of the way we're going to strain it afterwards. Don't worry about that, and we'll try and get as much juice out of that as we possibly can. And we'll do the second bit there, and we'll give it a good squeeze. I'll do that with the lemon, and I'll come back to you in just a jiffy. So we've got the juice here of that freshly squeezed orange and lemon together with the zest in there. The other thing we've got on the chopping board here is a slice of fresh ginger. Now, I've played around with this recipe a little bit. This is about the 3rd or 4th time I've done it to try the different amounts of gingers. Now, I like quite a lot. So this piece here, what do you hear? You're about 3 inches long and probably ½ an inch thick in terms of the size of bit of ginger I've got here. If you like it fiery, if you like that gingeriness, add a bit more. If you don't like it, just adjust the recipe. On to the next bit. First thing we have to do, I've got 300 millilitres of lukewarm water there. And the only thing at the moment I'm going to add to that is our castor sugar. If I can open the packet, I'm a bit worried about filming this because I can just imagine it, me bursting the packet open and it going all over the bench. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll grab a pair of scissors from over there and we'll do it the easy way, just so I don't embarrass myself. So the castor sugar there, the golden castor sugar, remember all that packet, those really handy little 250ml packets, has gone into the water there. This is going to go on the hob first. I'm going to cook it at a sort of medium temperature. There's no exact temperature to get at. What you want to do is get all that sugar dissolved into the water, so you've just got one mix there. I'll get that go on the hob behind me, and we'll come back to you and show you what the next steps are going to be. So that's our sugar and water all mixed in and dissolved there. Let me show you that. Now, it is mad hot at the moment. So what am I going to add to this? I'm going to add all of our rhubarb in here. And the rhubarb has been washed. And again, I'm just being a little bit careful here. I don't want the boiling hot water splashing up on me. Now, it does say in the original recipe, again, I said I've altered it slightly. Add the rhubarb, get it stewed, then add the other bits and pieces. From my experience and the times I've tried it, doesn't make any difference. Why create more work for yourself? Chuck the ginger in, chuck your citrus mix in, just put it all in there at the start, on the go, and it tastes exactly the same. It makes no difference other than create more work for yourself. Now, what we want to do now is stew the rhubarb. Now, if you don't do a lot of cooking or a lot of this sort of stuff, we hear people just throw around terms like stew the rhubarb, and you're like, what on earth does stew the rhubarb mean? I'm going to cook it on the hob. I'm going to bring it up to a simmer, just an ever so slightly so the water's just bubbling. And I want the rhubarb to break down as much as it can. And I'll show you that at the end. Once it's done, I'll show you what you want it to look like. You want the rhubarb basically to go really, really mushy. You want it just falling apart in the pan. As soon as you touch it with a fork, with a whisk, whatever you happen to be using, you want it just to go all mushy and break down entirely. And that takes around about 10 minutes. It doesn't take very long at all. So I'll get cracking with that and we'll come back and show you how that's looking. Well, we're almost there. Things are cooking, and I just wanted to show you this in the pan here. Now, this is mad hot again, but I'm using a whisk on purpose for this. Look at how the rhubarb looks now. This is what I mean about stewed, and it's not, there's no big lumps or chunks like there was before. It all just sort of falls out the whisk like that when you try to pick it up. Speaking of lumps and chunks and things, to take all those bits out, next stage is I've just got a glass bowl. It's a Pyrex bowl. Obviously, it's going to be hot, goes in it. We don't want anything to smash. So if you've got a Pyrex bowl, please use that. We've got a sieve, and we've got some of this. This is muslin or cheesecloth. Now again, I just picked this up off Amazon. It's a couple of quid. The one thing you do have to do with it is when it comes and it's first out the packet, it's very, very starchy. So you've got to boil it just for a few minutes and it gets rid of that starch. And I'm just gonna put that inside the sieve. We are gonna get rid of the whisk. We'll pop that on there. And I'm just gonna spoon the mixture into the muslin like this, and it will slowly, quite slowly, seep through into the bowl bowl below even, crikey. Put my teeth in this morning. Hopefully it'll take pretty much all of the mixture in there. But if you're not happy to wait, you can just wait. You can just be patient and it will make its way through the muslin. Let me lift it up there at the front so you can see it going through. You can just give it a bit of a helping hand. If you move the bits of rhubarb around, those stewed bits of rhubarb, stir them around, it just helps the liquid find its way through into the bottom there, and it'll get into the bowl a bit quicker. So what am I going to do now? Let me finish off sorting this out. We'll come back to the end there. I'm going to show you just how much this makes. So we've got all those ingredients there, but just how much rhubarb cordial does it make, and how am I going to store it? Once we've made it, we need to store it. We're not going to drink it all at once, so we'll come to that. So I'll be back with you in just a moment. So from all those ingredients, we have made about 700 mils of the most wonderfully coloured rhubarb cordial. I don't know if the camera's doing it justice now. Honestly, I've got some pictures on Instagram that make it look wonderful. I don't know if it quite does the sort of deep pinky sort of red colour, and it is marvellous, and honestly it tastes wonderful. So how am I going to store it? It will keep in any sort of bottle for around about a month if you keep it in the fridge. You need to keep it in the fridge. What do I like to do? I like to be a bit of a faff. I love using these little glass bottles that you get out of Amazon. I'll chuck a link in the description down below. You can go and see them. The kits are quite good. They come with the little labels, a little chalk pen, little bottles, and a little funnel. So hopefully, without spilling any, I'm going to pour some of this into one of these little bottles. And I like using these little bottles because I like to give them to unsuspecting relatives and whatnot to try out, to give the different things I'm making a bit of a try. And look, if we just pop the lid on there, I think they look absolutely wonderful in those little glass bottles. And again, good thing with the glass bottles is once relatives have used them, they can give you them back, put them through the dishwasher, good to go again. Honestly, you can store it in any bottle with a lid though. If you've got an old pop bottle, an old juice bottle, something like that, stick it in there, stick the lid on it. Like I say, it's good for around about a month. It's not going to last you 6 months. Like this Sunny Delight stuff that you buy in the shop that has who knows what chemicals and preservatives and colours and whatnot in it. Look, that we've used 5 ingredients in there. Apart from the sugar, we know exactly where everything's come from. It's all healthy. There's nothing unnatural in it. And look, it has gone the most wonderful colour you could imagine. And after all that, there's only one thing left to do. Find yourself a nice sunny spot in the garden and enjoy a nice cold glass of rhubarb cordial. Cheers, everybody.